Before we start today's video, here's an important announcement. I'm giving away 50 plus free SOPs drafted by students studying at some of the best universities across the world. All you have to do is go to the pinned comments or description box to download them for free. So go check it out.
Several students aim to win the Commonwealth Scholarship every year, but only a handful of them get selected. So we thought, why not cover the entire process to applying to the scholarship with the Commonwealth Scholar itself? Hi, my name is Priya, and if you are planning on applying for the Commonwealth Scholarship next year, this video is going to be your one-step guide. We have Apekshita Varshney, a Commonwealth Scholar, who will be sharing about her journey to winning this scholarship in great detail. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel because it's free, just like our services. Let's get started.
My name is Apekshita. I am originally from in and around Mumbai. My family has moved quite a bit, and I have a background in journalism, communications, campaigning, so issues related to urban development and social justice. And I did my undergrad from Jai Hind College, Mumbai University, and I finished it back in 2015. So I worked for about 8 years. And I'm continuing to work, but I think at about 5 or 6 years during my work experience, I decided that I wanted to get a master's and I wanted to study further. So that's when the journey of figuring out which college to go to, what to study, and how to navigate the very complex world of scholarships began for me. Scholarships particularly, there are a number of scholarships that offer complete funding, and by complete funding I mean not just the tuition fee but also a monthly stipend for you to sustain yourself in another country. And I focused particularly on the UK, so I can speak about scholarships in the UK. So the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the FCDO, has two broad scholarships for Indian students. One is the Chevening Scholarship and the other is the Commonwealth Scholarship. Now both these scholarships cover everything. So this means your visa fees, your airfare to and fro the UK, your tuition gives you a stipend, they give you a warm clothing allowance, they also give you an additional study grant in the course of the year if you want to attend a conference or if you want to attend additional program that requires additional funding. They give you that. They also give you a thesis grant. So it's a very generous scholarship. You're taken care of in every way, and the process to winning the scholarship therefore is extremely complicated and it's extremely competitive to win these scholarships. So I won the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship. Now within the Commonwealth there are two types of scholarship. One is the Commonwealth Masters and one is the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is only valid for a few programs. So you have to look at which programs fall under the Commonwealth shared ambit, and you have to see whether the program that you are applying for is eligible, and that has a different process. What I'll speak about is the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, which is a scholarship. Again, like I said, it covers every single thing, but this scholarship requires a nomination from the Ministry of Education in India. So the way you go about applying to the scholarship is that there are two stages broadly. Actually, before I speak about the stages, let me tell you that there are a few themes that are covered within the scholarship. There are 6 broad themes. One is science and technology, the other is health systems, the third is global prosperity, fourth is global peace, security and governance, fifth is resilience and response to crises, and the 6th is access, inclusion and opportunity. So my theme was access, inclusion and opportunity because I was applying for a master's in urban development planning. So that was my theme. So to sort of start this process, the first step is to apply to the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission's online application system. It's called the OAS. And you have to download the form and you have to fill it. And the deadline for this is very early in the academic year. It's October. So if a person starts applying to universities, say in August, September, it's almost one of the initial scholarships that you apply to. So you apply to the Commonwealth in October. And then once you've submitted your application, the second step is to apply to the Ministry of Education. And the deadline for that is usually December. So you apply to the Ministry of Education in December. And if you're selected, then the Ministry of Education nominates you. And typically every year, Ministry of Education nominates about 35 to 40 people from the country for the scholarship. And from those 35 to 40 people, about 10 or 12 get selected by the Commonwealth Scholarship. So the process is that you apply to the Commonwealth, then you apply to Ministry of Education, and then if the Ministry of Education likes your application, they will nominate you. And then amongst those who are nominated, the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission will further select 10 or 12 students. So that's the process. Okay, so for the Commonwealth Scholarship application, you don't need an acceptance, but for the Ministry of Education application, you must have an acceptance. So when you apply to the Commonwealth in October, you have to have a very thorough understanding of what you want to study, why you want to study it, what will you do when you come back to India, because the application form is quite lengthy and it has multiple questions, and it's a form that requires a lot of thinking and understanding why you want to do something. So at the time of filling this form, you need to have a lot of understanding of what you want to study and why. And then by the time you have to apply to the Ministry of Education, you must have an acceptance. So this means that your application journey needs to begin a little early. It needs to begin like in June or even earlier, because to think about recommendation letters, etc. So in terms of documents that are required, the Commonwealth application requires recommendation letters. So that's one thing. Of course, you need to have an undergrad degree, and you need to have graduated with a good percentage or good score. You don't need any particular documents per se, but you need a very good understanding of your subject and what you want to do. And why I'm saying this again is because the questions in the Commonwealth Scholarship application are questions around development themes. So like I told you, there are 6 themes that the Commonwealth covers. So I can speak about the theme that I applied under. So the theme I applied under is access, inclusion and opportunity. So there were questions around what my development goals are, why do I want to study this program, what my study outline would be, what will I come back and do, what will be how will I measure what I do. So these are questions that really require a very thorough understanding of the subject and clarity on what you want to study and what you want to do. Which is why I think more than the documents, it's the process of figuring out your next steps that are way more important. So like I said, you have to, after you've applied to the ministry, they release a list of nominees somewhere in January or early February. In my case, it was released in January. And that's a list of about 30, there were 37, I think, in my batch. And then I received my scholarship, like I got an email from the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission that I've received the scholarship on 1st June. So it takes about 3 or 4 months after that. At first, it's sort of, you're notified that you have received the scholarship, and then it's the process of the university and the scholarship commission together verifying your candidature. So they will look at your acceptance letter, they will look at they will sort of fulfill all the obligations that they have on their end. So that process goes on. There are also additional formalities like getting something called a CAS document from the university, which is then helpful in getting visa, etc. So that whole process, in my case, took another 2 months. So I think I was notified on June 1st, and then the visa process began only later in sort of mid-August. Start early, I think that's number one, because as I mentioned, the deadlines are quite early in the academic year. So you have to apply as soon as college applications begin, because remember that the Ministry of Education requires you to have an acceptance letter. The second most important tip is that if you're looking for the scholarship, then you have the highest chances of getting the scholarship if you get admission in a top 10 QS ranking college, which means that in the UK, your potential colleges are Oxford, Cambridge, UCL and Imperial. There are additional marks given to those who get admission in these colleges, and of course there are marks also for people who come from marginalized backgrounds. So do a thorough research of the scholarship. I get a lot of candidates reaching out to me and telling me that they have admission in LSC or SOAS, and unfortunately I have to always tell them that your chances of getting nominated are very low, because the Ministry of Education clearly says that you get additional 4 marks, I think 2 or 4 marks, if you have admission in one of the top 10 colleges. So look at the QS World Rankings, look at the colleges that you're interested in, and look at which scholarship is more likely to support those colleges. So one is, I think, purely from a logistical point of view, scholarship research needs to be very thorough. The second thing is, look very closely at what that scholarship looks for in its candidates. So for example, if you're looking at a Chevening scholarship looks at leadership experience, and it looks at your leadership journey so far and what you will continue to do. Similarly, the Commonwealth Scholarship looks a lot more at development goals. So you should make sure that your answers speak a lot about sustainable development goals, about how your proposed study and what you want to come back and do relates to those development goals. So you have to identify the focus of the scholarship, and you have to make sure that your answers cater to that focus, as opposed to you talking about something that you want to do which may not necessarily be linked or associated with what the scholarship goals are. So research, I think, is very important, and nobody knows these things. You have to keep reading and talking to people who won the scholarships to be able to understand this. So in my case, I did not get funding in the first time I applied, so I deferred my admission and I got it in the second time. So that allowed me a lot more time to research and understand. So my most important tip to people is to thoroughly read and research. And then again, when you're looking at your programs, make sure that you really understand what your master's program is, what the modules are, what is the curriculum, who is the faculty, and your research should be so good that you're able to somewhat imagine that this is what the program will be like and this is what I will gain out of it. I think that kind of clarity is what scholarship committees really appreciate when they're reading your answers. Right. So I can speak about this for ages, but I think broadly these are some of the top sort of learning takeaways that I had.
We hope this video gave you all the necessary information that you need to apply and hopefully win this scholarship. Let us know which are the scholarship you would want us to cover next in the comment section below. Make sure you like, share and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you next time.